Hello and welcome to Decorate It. My name is Mary and this is Wes, and this is episode 12. It is the first one of the year, and we are going to be talking about tiger wraps.
Meow.
No, not really meow, more like, roar or something similar to that. Tiger wraps. So I've done a few, but they have all been monsters of failures. Just absolute did not take the time to really figure out what I was doing and didn't experiment, just kind of ran with a little bit of common knowledge, which makes me super dangerous, I think, with some stuff. And was like, yeah,
Just
I'll
a little
try
bit.
it. And they didn't come out so great. But you said that you've done one in the past.
I've done one or two. One of them I sold to a guy here locally. Could have had more contrast in it, looking back, but you definitely need to experiment with colors for what you're trying to do.
Colors and layers, from what I'm hearing. So we did a bunch of different question of the days in Southern a few years back. I used to have the time to do that. Unfortunately, I don't have the time anymore to keep up with that. But you can still do the search engines and find all those topics. And
Just search question of the day.
yeah, question of
Southern.
the day in the Southern Rod Builders, or you can just type in like a topic like tiger wraps, for instance. When you go to type in tiger wraps, there's at least 10 different posts that come up, and there was a few that people were just sharing all of the steps that they did on how they did their tiger wraps. And I think what we were told, or I read it somewhere, or somebody told me, I can't remember which one, was when you're first starting to do tiger wraps, do a black and white base, or like a silver, like a metallic and a black base, something like that. And you're basically wrapping it not with a lot of tension, but you also don't want it to like the threads to like roll over on each other. You want everything to stay very symmetrical once you get it wrapped. And the other thing is, so let's, for this example of us talking through it, you're going to start at the butt of the rod. You're going to wrap towards the tip, right? And we're going to have the black and white base for that. Then you're going to burnish on all the axes, and depending on how you burnish it, a lot of times when you're first taught, I think Doxkey has great YouTube tutorials, and so does Bill Falconer on how to do them, and really has the explanation dialed in for it, because I know, like I said, I know enough about it to be dangerous. I can't really sit here and teach you how to do it because I
We haven't done enough of
haven't
them.
done enough of them to be what I would call an expert or even feel comfortable teaching you how to do it. I just know that this was what they suggested. And you would burnish it moving on different axes. So if you went on the 0, you'd go to, left to right, and then you'd rotate it and keep kind of just zigzagging back and forth till you got all the way up.
My problems are I always had it too loose to get the effect I wanted because it would start rolling over each other.
Yeah. Mine was, I had it too tight. And so I could never get any movement out of it. I would get kind of like a pixelated kind of overlay kind of thing. But once you get it burnished how you want it, and then some people CP it to keep it from moving and let it dry. Some people don't. I never put CP on my tiger wraps, but once again, I'm not an expert. You would put multiple layers of epoxy in between the base layer you just wrapped. Somewhere at least 2 is what's recommended, but some people were doing 2 to 4. And then your top layer, you can do as many threads as you want with any of these layers. It can be 2, 4, however many you want to do. But the top layer, you have to start it on the tip side and wrap it towards the butt. And a lot of times, for when I was experimenting with it and failing, I was using 2 to wrap at the same time, because that's what our thread carriage at that time could handle, was 2 spools. I now have a 4, so I'd be able to play around with like 3 or 4 different colors. But you would have your main color. So let's say it was red for the top layer. You do a red and a sacrificial thread to go with it, laying it side by side, burnish it, pull the sacrificial, and then you should be able to see movement after you've done that, is what I know about it. So
That's pretty much the same way.
yeah, I mean, it's basically wrap it, burnish it, epoxy it, do your top layer the opposite direction you wrap. So if you wrap from butt to tip, then you're going to wrap from tip to butt for that one. Move it around again, and voila, you have this cool little tiger wrap underneath of it. It does take a lot of practice. A lot of people would start with like dowel sticks and have sections where they were trying to get colors to pop, or We're playing around with color techniques and stuff, or we're trying to get movement dialed in because some people have they have the waves kind of thing. It looks like wave. To me, is a beginner kind of tiger wrap sometimes because that's what we end up doing is making these waves or these they remind me of the knots in the wood, kind of like that movement. And those are the ones
I've
I really
seen some
enjoy.
with spots everywhere.
Spots everywhere. So
it's all in how you burnish it and how many layers.
Intention of the thread too. So
you'll see some examples here in a little bit.
Yeah, the Southern Rod Builders contributed again tonight, so that was awesome. Because I don't have any pretty ones to show you. They're pretty awful, to say the least. But without further ado, let's look at some pictures of some people that I would call professionals at this. Because mine, I'm not even showing you. All right, so first one up is Erin Roulette, which that's me, really pretty. It looks like it has a little bit of orange maybe in it. I did not get all the layer list that these people used in theirs because I originally just asked for.
But if you're interested, go comment on it and find out.
Yeah, I just originally asked for the photos and then I was like, oh crap, I probably should have asked for the
layers
and what colors you used kind of thing. But so that's Erin's. That's just a fun one. This one is Abby's. This one's really kind of hard to tell in the light, but it's a really pretty subtle. She's done it with metallic thread. She used silver, gold, and black. You can see it peekabooing through the bottom. Another one at Abby's, which she got some cool movement in this one as well. The green one is a Fuji No CP green with one of their prismatic colors. Nice. This was Adam Laird's, and he's got the tiger in the split. And to me, that looks like it's black and white, or at least silver and white. Probably black and white. Maybe gray.
It's got a lot of movement
maybe
to it.
It's gray and black. I don't know exactly. I love the movement in this. It's all over the place. It waves, and I think that's one of the coolest things too. Tiger wraps are kind of like marbling. Like you're gonna get it one of a kind. You can kind of get the same colors every time, but you're never gonna get the same movement every time. Also, Adams, which
that's got that wood grain look.
That looks like wood grain to me, and I really enjoy that a lot. And that's just the black and white one. I think contrast is key with most of these.
Definitely. If you get colors way too close, it just bleeds out.
Yeah. Or you get a subtle looking one, which I've seen some kind of further in our list. This one is by Brandon, but most of his are in the split. I think the 3 that he submitted. So you see some nice movement. And the other thing with tigers is it kind of sucks to do pictures of them because you don't get all the movement that is in that from the pictures. So that one's very neutral looking. This one is a darker one also by Brandon. It is definitely black. Looks like there's white in it, but there's also a contrast, which...
Well, I'm pretty sure that's an ice blank.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is too. From this angle, from how we're looking at it, kind of almost looks like a natural, like a cork color in there, but that could be completely wrong too. And then another one, Brandon's.
Red and white.
Red and white. This is by Buddy Lucas. This
looks
is
like
one...
pink and black and white.
He's got some nice movement. This is before epoxy's been applied to it. So you get kind of the look that you're going to see, but you don't get the overall effect without the epoxy layer. So it's kind of like the raw, as you take out that sacrificial thread, this is kind of like what you would see. So you'd be able to tell whether or not you liked what you did. Another one of Buddy Lucas's. That one's fun. It's got real kind of subtle waves in it. I wish you could see it with epoxy, because you can barely tell what's going on. Like, you almost have to make your eyes kind of fuzz out in order to be able to see what it's supposed to look like. Chris Stanton. So a lot of guys know him as doing all these crazy, beautiful, look at that. I mean, that's a rainbow tiger, just about. That one's pretty. And I like how it kind of like spirals. That one's fun. But a lot of people know Chris from his app that he had. And he does a lot of grip stuff with the tigers and stuff. This is David Willard, one of his. This one also looks like it doesn't have epoxy on the top, but that looks like black, red, and a metallic of some sort.
I don't know.
I can't tell if that's the CP that's making it look like that, though. But still, cool movement. You can see it in the bottom layer. Like I said, if you kind of fuzz your eyes, you can see it a little bit better. You kind of have to cross them a little bit. This is David's other one. That one's really cool. I think that kind of matches up to those wind grips pretty good with the movement. Those black and green wind grips, and the movement kind of mimics that little curly line in the 4 or the split. Ready? Magana. He does a lot of those fade wraps too. which I think we should talk about that next. And his are just, whew.
Okay.
But that tiger, I like that tiger. It looks like he purposely like made everything kind of go towards where the decal is in the center. Like everything just kind of moves towards it. Looks really good. But that one looks like black, white, and a blue metallic. All right, Garrett Honecker. So if you look in the real seat area is where his tiger is. Coppers in a turquoise color. And I do believe that's kind of what he was trying to do with that tiger under that real seat in the little peekaboo area. And he even took it a step up and decided to do his tiger over the dragon scale. Because you can kind of see the movement that he did. So, and that's looking more like coppery, like a copper and a silver in that one specifically. Jeremy Farrow. So he's got nice movement. Let's see if I can shrink it a little bit. There we go. Another black and white, probably with a silver in it maybe, or just black and white. Jim Treleakes. I mean, he's done his spiral dragon scale with this one. And, I mean, everything I've seen Jim do, fantastic. And just immaculate work. And I love the colors that are popping through on this. And in one section looks brown or copper or bronze. I think bronze is closer to that color. And then there's another section where it's just gold.
Yeah.
But he's got that spiral dragon scale underneath of it, and that gave it a cool little effect too. Another one of Jim's. You know, he's recognized Jim's work by his little retaining wall pictures that he has with his bricks. This one's a Rasta. Ain't that cool how those colors came together? Mm-hmm. Another one of Jim's. That one I think is my favorite. That blue and that yellow together is just really cool looking. Absolutely cool looking. This one is Joseph Fair. So he's got a blue and silver and black is what it looks like to me. Very subtle. It doesn't really pop a ton, but it's got nice movement in it, and you can see it. This is Juan's. This looks like a red, white, and black one, and it looks great. This is another one of Juan's.
Is that purple and gold?
I think it is purple, or purple and yellow.
Or yeah,
with black. And there's a couple more of Juan's work. I think out of those three, that far right one is my favorite. But they all like it. That one. One on the left looks like two different green colors with black. The one in the middle is a Rasta color again with black, and then the end is also a Rasta, but the way that the colors are moving towards that center, which that looks like a decal, right? I don't think that's a weave.
Could be a water slide.
Or a water slide, something similar to that. But the movement's going towards the center, and it looks really good. Another one of Juan's, which I'm going to guess is black, white, and gray due to his tie-offs. This one reminds me of like waves crashing on the beach, kind of, with the way that the movement. Mark Fisher. Beautiful tiger. I love that it actually has an eye. Everybody see the actual eye there?
Right.
It has the pupil with the eyeball, and then there's the shape of the eye around it as well. I think it was really cool. But beautiful, beautiful little tiger there. There's a purple one he did. Purple and gold. Which that one looks almost like it's got a like that iridescent kind of, but it's probably the gold peeking through, which I think that's cool. And another of Mark Fisher's. This one's green and black, and there is some sort of green metallic in there. Or gold, maybe. I
just want to touch his background.
Yeah, he has all three of these pictures laying on what looks like a fuzzy blanket or a rug or something that's white. It looks very soft and cuddly. Probably a great background so you don't scratch the blanks. All right, Michael Ward.
That's decals in between that the other guy was talking about.
So, Michael Ward's. This one is, as you would guess, a red, white, and blue tiger wrap. And the fish decals he put on the base before he did epoxy. And then he said it's been so long that he couldn't remember how many layers of epoxy he put between, but he thinks 4. And it was a funny little conversation because I said earlier, remember, Jim Treleakes, every photo he has is on that brick wall. And Jim said, Mike, I think you borrowed my bricks. And he was like, I know, I've got a retaining wall too. But yeah, I think this one's my favorite just because of how funky it is.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like they're really swimming. Mike Rodman. This one looks orange and yellow with black. Another one of Mike Rodman's. This one's really pretty. That one's got some like chunky kind of movement to it. And obviously blue is one of the colors. I'm going to guess that kind of lime color green's in there, and maybe a silver, but I don't know. I really wish that I had gotten a list of what they did so I could be like, yes, this is what they used. But
they are all posted, and you can ask questions.
Yeah. Yep, you can. Another 2 of Mike Rodman. Some fun movement in these.
I like that one on the right.
The one on the right looks like it has a lot of... It's another one of those that kind of looks like waves kind of crashing. The other one on the left is... These both
Spiraled
look like they're in the
around,
same
kinda.
colors. They look the same colors, but that one's kind of ovaling, if you will. Looks like it spirals somewhat. Another one of Mike's. This one is a purple and pink version.
That almost looks like marbling. Like, legit.
Legit does kind of look like marbling. Another one of Mike's.
I like that one.
That one's cool. That one looks like green and lime green. Probably black is the top. It's a good looking, fun little wave. Nate, this one's cool. This one has a little bit of movement, but it has so much character in all the movement. A lot of eyes. A lot of eyes all over the place, kind of. Or those circles, or the wood grain kind of look that we were describing earlier. But this one looks like it's pink with purple, or maybe it's a silver that's under there that's reflecting that way, but it's definitely purple. That's all I can say.
It's definitely got some purple.
It's definitely got some purple in it. Another one of Nate's. Awesome. Black and white. That one's got a lot of cool movement too. A lot of cool movement.
I like how that one's real fine textured looking.
This one is by Peter Raymond Stanley Muckert. This one looks like what you would expect a tiger ride to look like, with the colors that they used.
Yep.
Because it's the orange and the gold and the black, and it looks very much like there. And he's got some of the circular shapes, or the circle shapes in there. Pretty. Stu Littlewood. This is one that he has not got epoxy on the top, but you could actually see some really good movement in this. Pink and black.
I like how the black makes all of it more subtle.
Tones it down. And then Stu Littlewood also sent this one in, which is this nice tiger wrap with this fun little leaf on it. I won't say what the leaf is, but it's a Rasta themed rod.
It's a green leaf.
It's a green leaf. It's a pretty little green leaf on this tiger with a lot of cool movement in it. These are by Troy. These are some of the prettiest tigers I have seen in a while, in my opinion.
A lot of movement, a lot of contrast.
So much movement, so much contrast. They look phenomenal. I would dream to be able to get my movement to come out to look like that the first go round,
Yeah. I like the idea of having it split in the middle, like we've seen a lot of them, where it's got some sort of decal or label or something.
Or he's put the trim kind of in the middle. So yeah, I mean that's actually a really neat way to do that, kind of break it up a little bit. And I think out of all the ones I've seen tonight, this particular one is my favorite. It looks like it's got polka dots on one side. It looks like it has ripples on another. He's got some cool movement. And all of this stuff just takes practice in trying to figure out what you like, what you're aiming for, moving threads around in different places.
Swapping colors around.
But you can tell that for the most part, having a black top or that whatever your main color is going to be, having that as the top is...
A darker color helps.
What helps bring it out. But you got to also have that contrasting color underneath, too. And... thankfully, black and white, like I said earlier, is a pretty good one to try for your first one. Usually we all have a pretty good bit of black and white thread, so we can play around with that for the most part. Had some great examples from the Southern Rod Builders. Thank you, everybody that sent them in. You guys do beautiful work.
We appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. It adds a lot more interest to the show, and other people can see what other builders are doing, because I think showcasing other people's talents is a great way to add to the fact that not everybody can do the same stuff. And there's some people out there that would, every single person that did a tiger tonight would kick my butt in me trying to do a tiger, because I suck at them, I need to practice it. And that's kind of my goal for this year, is anything that I've not actually done, which is a lot. I'm going to put my hands on it and try to figure out how to do it. That's kind of my resolution for the work this year. So y'all going to see me having some fits as I mess up some layers of tigers. Anyways, it is now time to talk about our sponsors. So, thank you, obviously, Foundation Outdoor Group. We actually got in 2 banners, and I haven't had a chance to hang them. Don't really know where I'm going to hang them yet, but for the Women's Rod Building Alliance from them, and also for the Decorative Studio. I'll both have them both at the expo next month. I've been talking about this, and now
It's like a month and a half away.
here, so, but thank you for helping us do all this stuff, and for also being great people. You can call up Mudhole whenever you go to do your order, and a lot of those guys will help you go through sizing stuff to your blank and making sure it fits, and going and grabbing stuff, and they're just awesome help. I'll hand it over to Wes.
It's going to be a set of magnets for your thread carriage.
Dialing in the perfect thread tension has never been easier with the all-new CRB thread carriage magnets. These neodymium magnets provide over 13 pounds of constant pull force for smooth, consistent thread wraps. Compatible with the CRB Advanced Hand Wrapper, CRB 2 and 4 spool thread carriages, as well as the American Tackle or Pack Bay thread carriages. Elevate your thread wrapping game.
They work very well with the one we have on the Pro G2. Be careful.
They're very strong.
I've pinched my finger several times sitting here playing with these, and I know every man that picks them up is going to try to push them.
Don't do it. It'll pinch your finger in a heartbeat.
These are super strong. They take the place of your springs, so this becomes your spring based on the magnetic polarization between the two.
It's easier for me to use the magnets for the tension than it is to try to use the springs for the tension. I was getting mixed messages when I was trying to tighten it down, and when you put the magnets in place of the springs, I was like, well, this is actually easier to get this to tension it where I wanted it to. So I was actually pretty happy with it. I think we have
I think we did 2 full sets because it comes with enough for 2.
Oh, then yeah, I got
thread
2
carriage,
sets
I
of
do
it.
believe.
Yeah, because I've got it for all 4 of them. And
but
big
definitely
fan.
well worth it. And a lot smoother than the springs grabbing and jumping.
yeah, and well, and for the plus with the magnets is that you've got to stop playing with them. The plus for the magnets is it doesn't matter what size the thread spool is; they're going to work regardless.
It's still going to push against it.
The spring, depending on what size the spool is, can be a little funky with trying to get it to tighten the way it needs to. So stop playing with them.
I'm putting them back together how they're supposed to be and out of my hands.
Basically, with tiger wraps, the super simple explanation is to put a base layer on, typically contrasting colors or whatever colors you're planning on doing. Burnish them on multiple different ways. You can try pushing it. You can try, doing all kinds of stuff. Tension is everything. So practicing on a dowel or a broken blank so you can mix match colors and see what happens. Anywhere between 2 to 4 layers of epoxy in between. Then wrap the opposite that you wrap. So your base, if you went from butt to tip, and you would wrap your overwrap from tip to butt, or vice versa. It doesn't have to be in that way, but they have to be opposite. And then top layer gets burnished. Once you put the color with the sacrificial thread on there, burnish it, and then remove the sacrificial thread, and ta-da! It's like Christmas. You get to figure out what's underneath. Woohoo! But that's basics of it. If you want more detailed explanation of how to do tiger wraps, I do implore you to check out Bill Falconer's got some good stuff on his channel. Doc Ski, obviously everybody been doing tiger wraps and got into tiger wraps. They know who Doc Ski is, and his YouTube channel is very in depth on different versions of how to do different tigers. The kaleidoscope, I think, is one of the ones that he came up with. There's the Throop tiger. There's all kinds, and he goes into a whole bunch of different ones. So if you're really interested in learning how to do it, that's the place to go to, because he's been putting out videos for years, and he's a great teacher. He's very thorough. So have fun with it. I do implore you to test some stuff out. Like I said, it's easiest with the black and white base, and then whatever color you're going to have on top, that be your main kind of color. That's a good place to start. And then start mix matching between having 2 threads versus 3 or having 4. I think a lot of people had more success whenever they were using the same size thread instead of like doing varying threads, because as you burnish it, a bigger thread's going to try to roll over on its smaller thread. Some people use CP, some people don't.
You can get different spacing on top using sacrificial threads larger.
Yeah, you can definitely, use a different sacrificial thread. You just have to make sure that it lays down and doesn't roll over the other one whenever you're going to do it, or it doesn't get twisted, because when you go to pull it off, it'll and just rip up the whole project. So have fun with it. Try it. I'd love to see some more people getting out there trying it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to put it on my to-do list, because I don't feel like you can ever learn enough. I feel like there's always something that you need to practice or learn or do or
test,
see how it comes out. So and this, I think, is the perfect example. I always tell people, don't practice decorative wraps on wooden dowels, but I think the tiger wrap would be great to practice on a wooden dowel, because you wouldn't have to, the wood fibers aren't really going to be that big of a deal, just as long as you can move the thread. So test it out, see what happens. Have fun with it. Try a whole bunch of different color combinations, metallics, non-metallics. If you decide to go with thread that needs CP, don't forget to put it on there.
Thank everyone for joining, watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. It will help us out in the future to get this out more across the masses.
On YouTube.
YouTube especially.
And come follow us. It's going to be a follower on YouTube. I'm trying to grow it so we can go live on YouTube.
We're going to expand YouTube more. The podcast is just a way to get the visual side of the podcast out so that people can actually see what we're talking about more. So
I'm trying to get some tutorials and little short videos done. Obviously the stuff I'm working on and everything, but trying to add also extra stuff in.
Hopefully in the near future, I'll have more freed up time too. So.
Yes, that's the goal. That would be awesome to have you also in the shop, so things can continue to keep going on, or you can be doing some tutorials too, because there's been the request. You do realize that you're going to have to teach them how to do the braid, because we got to build up the match to that.
That means I got to hurt my back again and sit on the couch for 3 weeks. Oh no.
For those that can't see that, I was giving him a look, and that's why he's laughing, because he knows. And you did not hurt your back doing that.
No, I hurt my back at work and sat down on the couch for 2 weeks just about.
Thank you.
Because I couldn't move. And
that's
when I did the paracord wraps.
That's when you did the paracord wrap. You're like, I'm so bored. I'm like, figure out how to do this.
Well, I get hurt to get up. That was awful.
Well, you completely threw your back out.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.